There's been an apology from Eric Holder on Operation Fast and Furious, causing even more trouble for the nation's chief law enforcer. Now, Holder was criticized this week after admitting he had not spoken to Brian Terry's family. He's the American border agent killed by a gun that may have been from that botched federal gun running sting. Now, reports say that Holder sent the family a letter saying that he is sorry, offering to meet with them. But the family claims they still have not gotten anything from the Attorney General. Arizona Republican Paul Gosar is a member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. He is my guest now, and welcome back here to America's Newsroom. You are calling for the resignation immediately of Eric Holder. You're also asking for 38 other members of Congress to join you next week in a show of support. Why is that important to you, and will that happen?
Well, I think when you see and you were made aware of what transpired in this botched attempt, plus the insincereness and the coldness that Mr. Holder showed in front of the Judiciary Committee last week, it's very evident that he needs to step aside or to be fired. And I think all of us need together. The numbers are increasing from both sides, from the House and the Senate, and we need to bring this to a pinnacle to make sure that we get all these facts.
Well, what have you seen based on evidence that implicates him?
Well, I mean, when you look at the aspect that we allowed guns to walk, and this administration allowed them to walk into the hands of criminals without proper surveillance, without proper tracking, putting at risk all of the American people, as well as those in Mexico, not telling the Mexican government, and then putting our law enforcement in our cities and towns at risk, it's just uncalled for. And if we didn't know about it, it's incompetence. If we did know about it, we've been covering it up and we've been lying. Wow. And either way, the Attorney General needs to go, and he needs to be compliant.
So your issue
with
then,
all the facts.
Your issue is allowing the program to happen in the first place and being the head of the department while it happens.
We can't make sure, you're exactly right. We cannot allow what occurred here to occur again. That is number one. And number two is we need to know who allowed this, who was the highest up to allow this, and anybody involved with this, to face the facts and affect a jury of their peers.
Okay. All right, now
we have to make sure.
It is perhaps one of the most emailed topics today from our viewers, and we get this one too. Because you asked, John Carlin wrote the following: do the actions of our government knowingly giving weapons to those whom our agents and military are struggling against constitute a treasonous act? Does Congress have the authority to remove the Attorney General from office? Back to the Congressman on that. Is this treason? What's the definition?
Well, I think we're trying to get all the facts on this bill to make sure that we have the details to go forward. But I think it's very obvious that the Attorney General needs to resign or to be fired. Does Congress have the ability to remove the Attorney General? Congress has the ability to start the process of impeachment of any civil servant.
Okay, we will see next week how many people show up at your call for the Attorney General to step down. You're expecting 38. We'll see if you get to that number or more. Paul Gosar, thank you, out of Arizona today.
Thanks, Bill, and happy Veterans Day to all our veterans across the country.
Indeed, well stated, and we've been passing those words on throughout the morning here. Thank you for your time. And to our viewers, if you got a question, Hemmer@foxnews.com. Also on Twitter, @BillHemmer. Both lines are open right now. So, too, is our website, Because You Asked, BYA. So we'll see where this goes next week.
Yeah, and here's what I want to know.
Washington. Yes.
What does Brian Terry's family think about Operation Fast and Furious? Listen.
I think if the Holder knew about it, the president knew about it. And I think anybody should be prosecuted for his death and the people in Mexico, them innocent people down there that were murdered with them AK-47s.
And there you go. William LaJeunesse sat down with the Terry family. He brings us that interview just ahead.